Hi everyone, I'm Valentino and this is Luxury Solo Explorer. It is solo, it is luxurious, and it is authentic. Also, special welcome to those of my friends who are joining me from my other channels, which is Luxury Junket, as well as Fly with Passport. As all of you know, every Sunday at 6 p.m. Australian time, we master a new destination or we take up a new topic. With the Bulla, some of you might have understood. Today we're going to be talking about Fiji. So the hello in Fiji is the Bulla. So that's why I said Bulla in the beginning. So today we're going to be talking about Fiji, and we're going to be talking about some of the myths as well, which Fiji has. The most important being that it is only for honeymooners. So Fiji undoubtedly is one of the most luxurious destinations in the world. It is extremely beautiful, nice beaches. It's got very high-end resorts. So we're going to be talking about them. We're going to be talking about the five-star resorts they have. We're going to be talking about some of the nightlife. We're going to be talking about some of the the beach clubs which they have, and of course they have mind-blowing views in the middle of nowhere, really. So I'm going to be talking about those as well. Now, as some of you know, Fiji has got too much to offer. Like they've got like 300, I think 333 islands, if I'm not wrong, and they've got too much to offer. So we obviously can't talk about each and every aspect of Fiji. So what I would be talking about is I'll talk about some of my personal favorites, the things which I really liked or enjoyed. I've been to Fiji about 2 or 3 times, so I would say that I have got reasonable experience of Fiji. But it's been some time that I've not been to Fiji, so which I think is a good reminder for me to travel to Fiji soon. So yeah, so let's get started. Just before that, in case you have not, if you just joined the live and you have not subscribed to the channel, then I request you to please subscribe to the channel. Also look at my sister channels or the other ones which I manage, which is Luxury Junket as well as Fly with Passport. So let's get straight into it now. So first of all, how to reach Fiji. Now, where is Fiji, first of all? So for those of you who don't know, Fiji is basically in the middle of nowhere. That's how I would like to say. It's an island nation. It is extremely friendly people over there, but it is really in the middle of nowhere. It's in South Pacific. So it is not an aviation hub. It's basically a destination. So therefore, the flights to Fiji, they are extremely limited, and therefore the prices of those flights are also extremely expensive. How do you actually reach Fiji, first of all? So in order to reach Fiji, I think the most important place from where you can reach Fiji, if you're coming from, either you're coming from the Australian side, so you've got flights from Australia, like you can take flights from Brisbane, you can take flights from Sydney, you can take flights from Melbourne to Fiji. So that's one option. Or you've got flights from New Zealand. So obviously Auckland, you can fly from Auckland, you can fly from Christchurch, from Wellington. You got flights to Fiji from here. These are the two nearby major countries nearby Fiji. There are some small countries as well, like Tuvalu and all. There are some small countries, but more or less, these are the countries from where you've got direct flights to Fiji. Then, if you're coming from the US side, then I think from the eastern, from the western side. Apologies for that. From the western side, yes, there are flights to Fiji as well. So you can take those flights from there. But just keep in mind that these flights can actually be pretty pricey, and they can fill up fast because the flights are really limited. Not many major airlines actually fly to Fiji, so you need to take care of that. That's the first thing. Now, I've explained about the routes. So I've spoken about Australia, I've spoken about New Zealand, I've spoken about North America. Basically, you got Fiji Airways. It flies directly from LA, it flies from San Francisco, and I think it also flies from Vancouver, if I'm not wrong. Now, in terms of the flights from Australia and New Zealand, if you look at the business class, I think it could be anywhere between $7,000 to $10,000. So it's very expensive. Obviously depends on what time you do it. If you're doing it at a time when it is not too expensive, or you're doing it in advance, you probably should be able to get it, say about $3,000, $3,500 as well. I'm talking about business class. Of course, if you're flying economy class, then the price would definitely be different. Now, talking about the visas, the second thing. So the good news is, for most of the people, or most countries in the world, especially the Western world, Fiji does not require a visa, so it is visa exempt. Also, for countries like India and China, a lot of Asian countries, they don't really need a visa. So you can actually get a visa on arrival. It's just going to the immigration and getting your passport stamped. But just make sure that your passport has 6 months validity and you've got a confirmed accommodation. These are the two things literally they see. Not really, not I'm not sure if they look at funds also too much, but I think these are the two things. No questions asked. Very friendly people. As you enter the airport, when you come to the flight and you enter the airport, you have people welcoming you. There's a lot of singing and dancing over there, which you can experience. The Fijian people, they're very nice people, very, very friendly. So you'll experience something new, if not seen earlier. And they'll be welcoming with the bula everywhere, bula bula, so everywhere, which is great. And there'll also be some singing and some dancing, and they'll also have some kind of, playing their instruments. So they love that, and they have the traditional attire. So it is really good. If you want to experience that, then Fiji would be great. Now, the next thing would be in terms of before I come to the best time to visit Fiji, let me also talk about a little bit about the VIP arrival in Fiji. So Fiji Airways actually offers you a facility which is called, I think it's called the Premier Launch Facility. But as part of the Premier facility, you also get the VIP meet and greet. So in the VIP meet and greet, basically you are taken really fast through immigration. You don't have to stand in the queues, and basically once you before you get your luggage, they can actually put you onto the lounge on arrival. So you are having some drinks or some cool drinks while everyone else is sort of sweating out in the hot weather. So even though of course it is air conditioned, but it's still pretty hot. So that's one of the first things which you're going to experience. So if you don't mind spending a little bit extra money, which is I believe it's around 100 Australian dollars, I think this is pretty much worth it. It will save you a lot of time, take you through immigration very quickly. You don't have to stand in the queue, and you have a host which is going to welcome you and take you right to your vehicle, or if you are taking the flight further on, and I'll talk about that in a moment. If you're taking that, then it makes the whole experience really extremely seamless and stress-free. Um, Not to say that if you come in normal lane and it's going to be full of stress. That's not what I mean. But it just makes it a little bit more convenient. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, in terms of the best weather, or the best time to visit, now the dry season or the golden window, as they call it, this is around, I would say, is around May to October. That's the time when it is the dry season, when you have less rain and you have a lot of sunshine. That's possibly the best time. From an Australian or a New Zealand angle, that's also the time when we are getting into, when either we are ending autumn and we are getting into winter. So a lot of people from Australia and New Zealand visit Fiji at that time, basically because we want to be away during that winter time. So we just fly down to Fiji, which is extremely good weather at that time, and it's very dry. Uh, One thing which I experienced is I went in April, by the way, last time. And when I went in April, even though I thought it was the shoulder season, because May is when the dry season starts. So I tried to act a little bit smart, and I actually visited Fiji in April time. And because there are a lot of holidays, as some of you know, in April in Australia, there are a lot of holidays. So I decided to club all of them together, and I actually went over to Fiji. And I think that was the that was the worst decision which I could have made. When I went there in April, even though it is right before May, and I went in towards the middle of April, still there was a hell lot of rain. There was cyclone, and I did not experience too much what I had experienced previously. So this is one mistake which I did. So just keep in mind that shoulder season is not really for Fiji. Some of the other destinations I've advised you to go in the shoulder season, but in case of Fiji, I would say do not go in the shoulder season. Only go in the dry period, which actually starts from May. Having said so, obviously, if it is the dry season, it also means it is tourist season, which also means it is going to be more expensive. So that's how it is. But if you really want to experience it, I'd say May onwards till about October. I would say September or October maximum. I would say would be a very good time when you can visit Fiji. So that's the sort of first thing. The other reason is not just because of the weather. The other thing is that if you want to take the helicopters or if you want to take the scenic flights, If the weather is bad, basically the helicopters cannot take off. And if the even if the take off, it is raining, so you won't be able to see the coral underneath. The nice views which you see in the nice movies. So you won't be able to see those. So it just kind of defeats the purpose if you're going around that time. So I definitely advise that go around like May onwards. You can visit Fiji. So that would be my sort of advice to you. In terms of the airlines, I think there are a few airlines which fly to Fiji. Someone asked me that question in the chat. Thank you so much for that. Uh, First flight, which of course the logical thing is Fiji Airways. So Fiji Airways flies, of course, flies to Fiji, both from Australia as well as from New Zealand and from the US and Canada as well. They don't have a very big network, but these are the places from where Fiji Airways flies. Other than that, from Australia, you've got flights of Qantas, and from New Zealand, Air New Zealand flies to Fiji. So these are some. My personal preference, depending on which part of the world, whether I'm on the Australian side or I'm on the New Zealand side. Qantas is really good. Air New Zealand, of course, is my home country's airline, and it is really one of the best airlines in the world. So I am a little bit biased in that context that I love Air New Zealand more than some of the other airlines. But not to say those airlines are not good. It's just a matter of my personal preference. Okay, so let's get into it now. So the next thing is in terms of the transfer. Now, once you come to Nadi, or it's written as Nadi, but in the local language, it is pronounced as Nadi. So it is the N is actually added, even though it is Nadi in English, Nadi, but in the local language, it is pronounced as Nandi. So that's one thing which you will notice once you come there. So when you come to Nadi, there are a number of islands which are around Nadi which you can go. I will be talking about a few of those in this live in a few minutes. But if you want to skip, let's say you want to go to an island which is a little bit far off, right? So there are two options: either you can take the ferry or you can take the helicopter. So there are island hopper helicopters, or there are seaplanes available which you can take. It takes about only 10-15 minutes, and you are there at your destination. So if you don't mind spending that little bit extra, and you want to save your time, and you also want to get nice mind-blowing views, then those scenic helicopters or seaplanes, they are very I would recommend them. Just take 15 minutes. It's a very small plane. It's basically to yourself. Not many people can go in the plane. It's a short plane, like a small plane. So it is. I think it's really worth it. In terms of the cost, yes, it can be a little bit expensive. But again, if you're looking at it from a luxury perspective, then it's not that much. So it depends. Sometimes it can be like $200 if it is really cheap at that point in time, or if you are in peak season, it can also cost about $400 or $500 Australian dollars one way. So just keep that in mind. And of course, you've got the helicopters, pretty much same thing. But as I've spoken about the weather earlier, if you want to take the helicopters or the seaplanes, just make sure you go in the right weather time, because if you go in the rainy season, then these helicopters cannot take off. In some of the cases, the money is paid in advance, and therefore it is not refundable. If the weather is not good, they won't be refunding your money. So just keep that in mind. And that's where the travel insurance will come in play. If you and that also is a gentle reminder, if you haven't got travel insurance at that point in time, please make sure that before you travel, whichever country, irrespective of whichever country you're traveling from, just make sure you got travel insurance with you. This is one thing which I consistently say in all my live sessions. So this is another reminder, because if you've got that travel insurance with you, and even if you miss that, because of the weather also, it is beyond your control. You've paid the money. The travel insurance will take care of that. So you actually don't end up losing your money. So this is one thing which you can, keep in mind. Now let's come to the fun part, right? So you reach your resort, right? Now, where would you like to stay? So that's one thing which you need to keep in mind. Where would you want to stay? So Fiji has got a number of resorts depending on your budget. So it's got really high-end luxurious resorts, like really expensive, which can be as expensive as $2,000 Australian dollars a night. Even I think there are even more than that, which are available. Or there are like sort of mid-luxury. They are also pretty expensive. They're like $300 plus. So and then there are some backpacker resorts as well. They are slightly cheaper, about $100 a night. But from a luxurious angle, if you want to experience both the luxurious side, but at the same time you don't want to spend too much, the mid luxury is the one which you can think of. Now, the easiest or the best place if you come towards Nandi, and if you want to stay in the nearby place and you don't want to go too far, then there is an island over there. It's called Denarau. So that's about, I think it's about half an hour out of Denarau or the Nandi airport. So if you take your car, the hotel will obviously pick you up, and that's the place where the mid-luxury hotels are there. So all your Marriotts and Sheraton and Novotel and those kind of places, Sofitel, all those hotels are actually over there. Hilton is there. What else is there? Warwick is there. So these are some of the hotels which are available over there. So you can stay at either of them. The Sofitel also has its own beach. It's called the Y2A Beach Club. It's got like a little club also inside it. And it's very good from if you want to access from a yacht perspective, like if you want to hire a yacht, and I'll talk about that in a minute shortly. So if you want to hire a yacht, then Denarau would be a very good option. From Denarau, you can go to all the further islands further down. So you can consider that. Now, so and in terms of the cost, as I said, depending on which one, and if you got any frequent, if you're a member of any club or any chain like Hilton or Marriott or so on and so forth, then you obviously get the price is a little bit cheaper for you, and if you book directly. But typically the price, I think the cheapest I remember is about 250 Australian dollars, and it can go up to $500, $600 a night as well, depending on when you're booking and where you're booking. Just keep that in mind. Then there is Mamanuca Islands. Mamanuca Islands is basically, they've got really, really blue water. I think it's the bluest of blue water. And it's got some islands or some resorts are there, which are basically adults only resorts. So you can't take kids over there. But the advantage of that is then there are a number of other activities which happen over there, which you can really enjoy. If you're going as a couple, you have a lot of private space for yourself, and you can enjoy that. So there are two of them which I can remember. One is the Tokoriki Island. So Tokoriki Island is basically, it's an island and there is a resort over there and nothing else. So that's really good. And the other one is the Vomo Island. So both of them are over there. If you ask the hotel, they will help you in either picking you up, either via the ferry or take the boat, or you can take the fast boat, or of course you can take the helicopter. In terms of the cost for these places, the cost they're really expensive. I think the cost is minimum one would be about $1,000 a night, Australian dollars, and it can go up to, if it is peak season, it can go up to $2,000 a night as well. So they are really, really expensive. And then comes the next level of luxury. That is the Wasawa Islands, which is basically ultra. I would say they're ultra exclusive. I couldn't afford to stay there, so I don't know too much about that. But it is basically the Wasawa Island is they've got a private resort over there. Basically, you go there to disappear. There's nothing there, literally nothing. You're middle of nowhere, and you got seclusion. You got pristine white sand beaches. You got blue water around you, and you got the service being done. That's it. You just enjoy. There's nothing much to be done over there. And that, I think, if I'm not wrong, the cheapest price I think I had seen was about $1,500, and the highest could be even, it is beyond 2,000. It can be about almost like maybe $2,500 or $3,000 Australian dollars a night. So very expensive. Some of these packages, they could actually offer you all inclusive, which means the food is included. Obviously, you can't go anywhere. There's nothing in the island, so you have to get the food from there. So that's how it works. So these are three areas, or I've given you examples of the resorts where you could stay. My personal preference, if you ask me, is to stay in Denarau. Denarau has a lot of options. There are a lot of beaches in that area itself. If you come out of your resort, some of the resorts, they have their own private beaches, so you can enjoy that. Most of them actually have it. And then you can go around, there are sandbars and you can go in those areas. and you can sit in the, if you're sitting in the hotel, you face the sea and you've got very nice views and you can enjoy that as well. Now, in terms of the beach clubs, so let's talk about those. So there is this Malamala Island which is there, and they have the world famous Malamala Beach Club. So basically, they've got infinity pool, and you can have your sort of a private sanctuary for yourself with a butler service, and so they serve you over there, and you enjoy the pool over there. So it's about, again, I think it's about 30 minutes or 40 minutes outside of Dehra. So you need to go there. You can, I think the entry for that is, I'm talking about the club, not about staying there. You can stay there, of course, it's pretty expensive, but I'm just talking about the club right now. So at the club, I think it's about 130 Australian dollars roughly, plus or minus, roughly about that, $100 plus definitely. That's the entry fee, and the cabana is going to cost you around $200 Australian dollars. So you can hire that, and but the advantage of that is you get the private, basically sort of a sanctuary for yourself, where you stay and everything is happening around you, but you're still private, and you got butler serving you, so you can get that, and it's really nice. It's really world famous. As we've got international DJs coming there, and then you've got nice views. The views are very nice, the wines are nice, the food is very nice, and music is mind-blowing, especially when the international DJs come. It is very difficult even to find a single space. So if you want to go over there, of course, you need to book in advance and pay in advance. The other sort of clubs over there or bars are, there is another one called the Cloud9 or the Seventh Heaven. It's like a floating bar, and it's on a reef. So that's also amazing. You can go there as well. It's got an entry fee of about 150 Australian dollars, and they will give you some credit for F&B as well, like for your food and as well. And if you want some kind of a top deck, you want to have like a nice view, I think you have to pay about another 100 Australian dollars for that. And when you pay that, then you can get an upgrade, and they'll actually put you onto the top deck. So that option is also there if you're looking for that. What else? So I've spoken about this. Now let me talk about the views, and also I'll talk about the yachts. Now, if you want to go to different islands, right? So there are many ways of doing that. You can either take the ferry, as I spoke earlier, or you can take the speedboat, right? These are two options. You can hire a private speedboat as well. That's also available. The third option, you can actually do a yacht charter. Now that yacht charter, or you can hire a catamaran, or and you can take it to a sandbank, and you can have a nice picnic in the middle of nowhere. And that kind of experience you literally can't get when if you go on a private ferry, like a ferry, public ferry. You can't get that kind of experience because they won't stop, of course, at these kind of places. But when you've got your own, then of course you can stop wherever you want. You can stop at any of the secluded beaches. No one is there. You literally have the beach to yourself, and it's in the middle of nowhere. And the kind of views you've got, and kind of all those Instagram pictures and all those things which you see in the all the Hollywood movies and other countries, Bollywood movies, and so on and so forth. Those you can get at these kind of places. These are the places where you get those views. The cost of that, cost of hiring the yacht, again, depends what kind of yacht, how many people, where do you want to take it, and so on and so forth. But on an average, I think the cheapest would be about 3,000 Australian dollars. That would be the cheapest. Now, when I say cheapest, what I mean is that it is actually fully catered. So you have the food, you've got the crew, and they also have some music, and you can take the music onto the beach also, and all of that. Those kind of things are arranged. Other than that, of course, any other incidentals are you have to pay separately for that. But pretty much, this is what the yacht offers you. I think the cheapest would be about $3,000 Australian dollars. Again, in terms of the size, if you want a bigger one or you have more people, then you'll be looking at 5,000 or 6,000 Australian dollars as well, one day. So you go in the morning, so you go about 8 o'clock in the morning, and you are back by about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. Again, depending on the high tide and low tide and all those kind of. So I think it's about 8 hours higher, if I'm not wrong. You can also take, there are some overnighter yachts is also available. You can hire them as well. They are obviously much more expensive. So they are also available. You can hire them as well. Then in terms of there are some scenic flights which are available. Now there is an amazing island, and it's called the Tavarua Island, if I'm not wrong. It is actually in the shape of a heart. So it looks like a heart, like literally in the shape of a heart. And there are some scenic flights, which are available over there. So you can take them as well. All the Instagram pictures and those kind of things, you can take them. The scenic flight, I think for one person, it's about 300 to 350 Australian dollars. The flight, if I'm not wrong, the flight is only like a 20-minute flight, so it's not very far. It only takes about 20 minutes or so, go and come back. So it's pretty close. But they give you a nice tour of the island. It's in the shape of the heart, so it's a lot of people do amazing things over there. There are some lighting options also, which locals told me. There are some lighting options, like you can get the name of your girlfriend or wife, or you can get it written over there. There are some options. It's pretty. It's not cheap. It's expensive, but if you got the resources, definitely go for it. It does have those options, especially if you're going in the evening time. They can put in all those lights, and they can put banners also. And even in the daytime, I think they've got some kind of an arrangement wherein they can put some kind of plastic is there, which you can put in. The name of your girlfriend is reflected on the island, and a lot of other things, which you can see in the movies. You can actually get that over there. So I've spoken about the cost of this, how much this might cost. So spoken about that. Now I will talk about another aspect of Fiji, which is around basically around the underwater. What can you see underwater? And if you're fond of the marine life, then what are the things which you can see or which you want to experience? So I'll be talking about that. So I spoke about the Yasawa Islands earlier. So the Yasawa Island, of course, they are most expensive, undoubtedly. If not most expensive, one of the most expensive. But if you want to see the turtles, and if you want to see the rays, basically the stingrays and the manta rays and so on and so forth, if you want to swim with those, right? Then I think between May and October, which is the dry season, if you go to the Yasawas, then you can definitely see a lot of turtles over there. I think there is another island, like where the Yasawa Island Resort is. There are nesting sites available over there. Basically, nesting sites as in turtle nesting sites. So you can see the baby turtles also. They are walking back to the sea. That kind of experience you can have over there. And of course, you can swim with them. The bigger ones are also there. You can swim in them. The water is very clear. So you can get amazing pictures, amazing videos, all those kind of things. So there is, I'm forgetting the name of the channel, apologies for that, can't remember, but it is close to the Yasawa Island. Can't remember the exact name of the channel, but it is close to the Yasawa Island. So that I definitely can tell you. And that channel is basically where all these, the turtle sites are, and it's got pristine reefs, and it's got, also you can swim with the manta rays. So all those things are available there. Then if you want to go to, so if you really want to experience, if you're into marine life, you really want to go, then there is this, it's called the Kadavu, if I'm not wrong. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it is called the Kadavu. And there is a big reef over there. It's called the Great Reef, or I think it's called the Great Astrolabe, or may not be using the right names. Apologies for that. But it's a great reef that I remember, and it's in Kadavu, that I definitely remember. So if you want to go there, then it's got a lot of seclusion. So, and it is one of the largest, I think it's one of the largest barrier reefs in the world, other than of course the Australian one. And you've got huge marine life. You've got a lot of corals over there. It is, of course, it is expensive to reach that, which also means it is sort of remote, and it is also untouched. So therefore, not many people go there, and because of that, you get a lot of exclusivity, you get a lot of seclusion, you can enjoy the marine life. all the colorful fishes and tortoise and all the amazing things in the marine life which you can think, you can experience over there. Then comes another thing. Then is the shark also. So I would also remind you about the sharks also. So keep that in mind that there are sharks around the waters of Fiji. Especially if you go to the lagoon, there are tiger sharks there. So just keep that in mind. That when you are, if you are in those waters, the waters are not really very deep. Especially around the islands, the waters are not really very deep. So you need to keep that in mind. That if you find those kind of so just keep yourself safe, right? So keep that. That is one thing which I definitely like to remind. If you want, but if you really want to experience the adventure and you want to swim with those tiger shark and you want to do that diving, then there is that, I think it's called the Bega Lagoon, if I'm not wrong, and you can go over there. You can have the adventure over there. You can swim with the sharks, and it is really famous for swimming with that. So you've got a lot of Instagram pictures and videos are there where you can see you're swimming with those. Obviously, maintain your distance for obvious reasons, but yeah, that is also available over there. In terms of how to reach there, when you go there, you will have to have the licenses are required, and you need to have your diving instructor. You need to have a lot of things over there. It's not that simple, and it's pretty expensive as well. So I think it costs about 300 plus Australian dollars, maybe even more. Not too sure. I think it was 300 plus, which you can do. Now, but if you're just after normal sea life, you don't really want to go for the tiger sharks. Then some of the islands, especially the Mavanukas, which I've spoken about earlier, they have, and I've spoken about the resorts like the Vomo or the Tokoriki Islands. Both of them, they have a lot of snorkeling facilities available right next to the resort. So basically, you come out of the resort and you go for diving, and you can see the rays, you can see the tropical fish, and it's right outside your resort, and they're very colorful, extremely colorful fish. So you can go over there as well, and it is very accessible. So it's not difficult if you are staying at either of those. So if you're in Mavanukas, then you can definitely do that snorkeling over there. So that's basically in terms of what are the activities which you can do when you are in Fiji. I'm not saying these are the only activities, but this is from a luxury solo perspective. If you're going on your own, what are the activities which you can do? These are some of the things which you can do. I'll also talk about some of the scams which are there, or how to keep safe over there. Some of the things which can happen or which can go wrong. As any part of the world, like Fiji also has its own challenges in terms of, there are people who try to take extra money from the tourists. One thing is that there are people, if you go to the Nadi town, then there will be people who will talk about, carving your name onto the wood, right? And so they sort of, and they will say, no, this is free. But actually, in the end, they will ask you for a lot of money, sometimes even 100 Australian dollars, just for some kind of wood, which is basically nothing. And for those people who live in Australia or New Zealand, just a reminder for them that if it is untreated wood, which basically means that when you enter Australia or New Zealand, you will have to declare it, and the customs is not going to allow it. So it is pretty useless in any case, right? Because it might have some biological threat to it. So both Australia and New Zealand, as you know, they are very strict on the biological laws, and it will be very difficult to get it, even if you declare, which you have to. But because it is untreated wood, I doubt that you would be allowed. So it is pretty useless anyway. So I'd say just stop them if they are trying to sell this to you. Just say Vinaka, Vinaka. Vinaka basically means no. So you just say Vinaka, and then that's it. Thank you very much, and no thanks, and that's it, and keep moving. So that's one thing which I learned over there, which I'm sharing with you. Now there are some other things in terms of the staff. Now it's not really a scam, but it's not a scam. So I must say that. But sometimes what can happen is the Fijian hospitality, they are very intense. So what can happen is they can go overly, they can become like overly helpful, which means that if you're looking for privacy, right? Sometimes they can be, they can come across as intruding into your privacy because they want to help, right? They're very hospitable. They want to help, but at the same time, you want your privacy. So if that happens, which in some cases, most cases, I'd say I've experienced that number of times. So you have to tell them that please, please, we want our privacy and please let us alone. So, or leave us alone. And I think they would understand that. I mean, of course, you have to speak politely and all. So that's all good. But just let them know. It's not a scam. I mean, again, saying it is just like the way they are. They just want to be very helpful. So sometimes they become overly helpful. That's the only thing. Now we'll also talk about what mistakes you can do other than this. So first thing is that if you're going solo, right, the simplest thing is that please don't stay in a resort which is a family resort. And the reason is pretty obvious. You don't want to be running around a place which feels like a kids club. So you don't want that, and you don't want kids shouting in your ear, and you don't want those kind of things. So that's the first thing. So keep in mind, if possible, then stay in an adults only resort. And I believe me, it will save you a hell lot of hassle, and you will experience and enjoy the facilities and everything even more if you are in a resort which is or a hotel which is adults only. Not sure about the hotels, but I think most of the like there are a lot of resorts which are adults only resorts, so you can take them. Second thing is I've spoken about using the public ferry. So definitely, if possible, and if you got the resources, then please stick to the either to the private helicopters, or you also have the water taxis. So you can take, or the fast boats as they call them. So you can take them as well, and it saves you a lot of hassle and saves you come pretty quickly over there. And especially the water taxis are pretty fast. So other than as compared to the public ferries, you save a lot of time over there. You can use them. Again, they are expensive. They can cost anything between 200 to 400 Australian dollars, but pretty much worth it. So that's important. Now, one thing which a lot of people forget, and which is the sunscreen, and this is a very very common thing. A lot of people forget that. Please bring your reef safe sunscreen with you. There's a lot of sun in Fiji. You have to keep putting the sunscreen on, otherwise you get a lot of tanning. So, but if you want to get tanned, of course, then by all means. But I'd still say that the ultraviolet in the Pacific region, including in Australia, is pretty bad, right? You don't want to end up with something bad on your skin. So the skin can get burnt as well, and you can get other things which I won't talk about in this in the live. But I think the message will be clear. Please put in a lot of sunscreen on yourself. Bring a lot of sunscreen with yourself from whichever country you're traveling to, and keep applying them every 2 hours. Because you'll be going for swimming, then make sure it is, of course, make sure it is reef safe. So we don't want to cause any damage to the marine life at the same point in time. The last, I think, or maybe not the last, but maybe last few things that come to my mind. One is around the tipping culture. So it's not really mandatory, but if you get really good service, then what you can do is, they've got every place at checkout, they've got something called the staff fund, right? So you can actually contribute money to that. Instead of giving it to individual people, you can just put it into that staff fund. It's like a box which is kept there. Most of the places you find that. And you can, I think that would be more classy. So you can put that instead of giving it to individual people. Of course, if you want to, you can. It's not mandatory, and it's not that it's expected. But at the same time, no harm in giving extra money. But yeah, good thing could be that if you put it in the staff fund, that would be a little bit more classy. Other thing which you can do, which I, from my perspective, which is the last two things which come to mind from a mistakes perspective, is missing the sunset. So sunset in Fiji is classic. You get like if you go and sit in a bar around, let's say, 5 o'clock, and the bar is facing the west, then you can get like a mind-blowing view of the sunset, and you get all that the amber orange kind of color of the sky, or the blue with the blue sea, and you get like picture postcard kind of view at that point in time. So that would be really good if you want to enjoy that. So then definitely don't miss that. That is actually real. Those pictures which you have seen of Fiji, most of them are actually real. So you get those kind of amazing mind-blowing views if you're seeing the sunset. So don't miss that out. Last but not the least, I briefly spoke about that, and I say that in every video of mine. Do not miss the travel insurance. Whichever country you're traveling from, do not underestimate the power of travel insurance. Make sure you have the insurance. It's not a little bit of extra money going waste. It is one of those things that if you need it, you might not need it, but if you need it and you don't have it, you're in big trouble. Whether it's from a financial perspective, whether it is from a rental car perspective, whether it is from a health perspective, every perspective, or for cancellations or flights being delayed, or losing money, or losing your things, from every perspective, it is essential. Do not go anywhere without having travel insurance. It's literally a must. So if you don't have travel insurance, please, whichever country you're watching it from, make sure you carry your travel insurance with you. So now, that's basically what I wanted to cover. So I'd like to thank all of you for watching. And as you know, my endeavor always is to provide you all the information which is authentic, and that's basically my key differentiator from other people, because I give you information which is authentic. When I say authentic, it means it is first hand, which is experienced by me personally, not reading it from the internet and sharing it with you. That's my USP. So all this information is authentic. At the same time, its other aspect is that it is from a solo and luxurious perspective. So it kind of makes a very unique combination. It is solo, it is luxurious, it is authentic. So that's why it becomes very unique. And I also say, if you haven't subscribed so far, then please like the channel, share the channel with your friends, and subscribe to my channels. Not only Luxury Solo Explorer, which you can see, but also my other channels, which you can see down below. The scroll which is running. So all my 3 channels are there. I've got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, so you can subscribe and you can share my videos over there. Next week, I will be changing a little bit of gear, and I will be doing a live on how to find the best and the cheapest flights. Now, a lot of people say, okay, you book the flight in advance, and therefore you get the cheapest flight. Well, that's not necessarily the best way of booking the flights. So what I will be doing is, like, as an experienced traveler, someone who's been to more than 100 countries, like 103 to be precise, I would like to share some of my, the tricks of the trade, which I'm happy to share with you, and tell you how to find the best flights, how to go around to the best places. Not only, so best doesn't necessarily mean cheapest. So there are a number of things to think about when you're booking the flight. So I will be talking about those as well in my next live. So thank you so much once again, and please join me in the next live, which is going to be around the flights. And have a nice evening ahead, and I'll see you next week, same time, same place.